would never guess that philanthropy could play such an important role in a community.
And we're going to put Topeka on the map.
Convince the Savannah Bananas to move to Topeka.
Yeah, there we go. It's like we really want to be able to make a difference around mental health. Good.
He's really excited to ask you for money later.
We've got Marsha Pope. You are the president of the Topeka Community Foundation in the studio with us. Thanks so much for carving some time out to
thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So, Marsha, maybe could you start, what is the Topeka Community Foundation?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
So the Topeka Community Foundation is a nonprofit organization created in 1983. I'll give you the backstory.
Please do.
So 4 ladies from the Junior League drove to Lincoln, Nebraska to learn more about how to write grant applications for funding for Junior League ideas. And while they were there, they learned about the Lincoln Community Foundation. And on their drive home said, Topeka should have something like that. So the Junior League had some conversations and started the Community Foundation with a $10,000 grant.
Wow.
From that time, that was November of 1983, we've grown to $120 million in assets, all while having granted that much money back into the community too.
Wow.
So good investment from the Junior League.
What is the Junior League?
So it is a volunteer organization of women that really builds leaders. And then, I think maybe they started Meals on Wheels here. I mean, they create programs, they fund programs, and then launch them.
Cool.
And we're one of those programs.
So when you say $120 million under assets, what does it mean exactly?
Yeah. So we have, so it's weird, like a nonprofit organization, you usually think you serve meals or you build houses or you run programs for kids.
Right.
We don't have programs and projects of our own. So what we have are charitable funds. And so we have over 400 different charitable funds, donor advised funds, scholarship funds, field of interest funds. We hold those dollars, invest those. They can grow in those funds tax-free. And then some of those funds come to us maybe in estate gifts. When St. Francis was sold, that foundation came to us. And so we have a mental health fund. We have a community health fund. In those unrestricted or field of interest funds, then we can use those dollars. They're endowed, and we can grant each year around what the language is in that fund agreement.
Gotcha.
So is it like they're treated like an endowment? Tell me if I'm understanding an endowment. An endowment is basically you can give off the interest of the investment.
Right. So we hold, I don't know what percentage of our dollars are endowed, but for those funds that are endowed, our spending policy is you take a 3-year September 30 balance, take the average of that, and then you take 4.5% of that average. And then that's what we would grant.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you guys are receiving grant applications for people who want money, and you guys get to decide whether or not this is a good use of. Gotcha.
But you're also receiving donations too, like in investment. So like you said, you have charitable funds.
Right.
People can give to those.
So just like our competitor in that arena would be like a Fidelity or there are 4 commercial donor advised funds, but you can also do that at the Community Foundation. And so, Fidelity or one of those groups, they would be really good transactionally for you. But if you have a fund at the Community Foundation, we're going to get to know you and what you care about. So here, there's a story. We had a donor, has a donor advised fund years ago in Dillon's, where we live in Topeka, buying apples, and we run into the donor, and they're like, do you know of any kids education programs they were interested in funding? Well, that was the year that Highland Park High School had started requiring their freshman class to wear uniforms, and there were kids who couldn't afford the uniforms. So they made a grant from their fund to Highland Park High School and helped kids purchase uniforms.
That's cool.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and Fidelity would never know that.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So
So it's local, serving local needs.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So I guess before we dive more into that, I'd love to hear a little bit about your backstories. Well, how did you get into this? Are you from Topeka?
Right.
Who is Marsha Pope?
Yep. So grew up in Iowa, went to college and Morningside College in Sioux City, Iowa, where I met my husband. That took us to Houston, Texas, and we were there for a while. Couldn't wait to get back to the Midwest.
Let's go.
Yeah, right. So back to Omaha, Nebraska. Side note there, you guys, I don't know if you were even alive when this happened, but when the plane crashed in Sioux City, Iowa, I was working for the Red Cross at the time and was sent there to be like their national spokesperson for all the media and all of that. And when CNN asked me for an interview, I gave them 30 seconds because I was so busy. So that was like my claim to fame.
I do not have time for you.
Right, yeah. And then from there to Peoria, Illinois, and then here since 1996, but always been in nonprofit work, the YMCA, the Red Cross.
Wow.
I had worked for 501 in the communications department part-time. Our boys were little, and so I was in a job share. And at the time, the community's sesquicentennial celebration was going on, so there was a community committee, and I met the president of the Community Foundation, and she was smart and hardworking, and we hit it off. And there was a position open there, so I left 501 to work at the Community Foundation, overseeing their grant making, scholarships, the Women's Fund, things like that. And then when this position became available in 2016, became the president.
Okay, so you've been the president for coming up on 10 years now.
Almost.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What excites you most about the Community Foundation? What about your job do you love doing? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Well,
you would never guess that philanthropy could play such an important role in a community. Beginning really in 2017, the Greater Topeka Partnership was working on Momentum 2022 at the time, and asked the Community Foundation to be part of that conversation, and really shifted the conversation from talking about making the prosperous more prosperous in our community to what's it look like for prosperity for all, holistic economic development. And so we were able to kind of partner at that time then with the partnership. And so they know economic development and we know community development. And the light kind of came on that community development is economic development.
Wow.
And so aligning our goals and moving us forward together, each of us doing what we do best. But we know they know businesses, they know jobs, all that kind of stuff. We know communities. And so we are able to kind of get in each other's business to help make progress for the whole community.
Wow. Yeah. Who's been and I'm sure there's several, who's your contact at the partnership that you work hand in hand with?
Well, Matt Pavarnik was on our board until he left.
Unbelievable. R.I.P.
I know. So sad. Beginning in 2026, it has to be voted on, but Molly will be, on our board. And I'm on the Momentum 2027 Executive Committee. So we're in each other's business all the time.
We had Molly on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Smart, hardworking.
Yeah.
It was so fun getting to know her and just her transitioning in. This is a little random, but I'm still stuck on something you said earlier. What is a sesquicentennial?
Is that 150 years? I think it is.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
No idea.
I think that's
Sounds
what
great.
It is.
I was like 15 seconds.
We're not fact checking.
What is sesquicentennial?
That's what you say. That's what it is.
I should be confidently wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is 150
Amazing.
years.
There you go. You learn something every day. Wow. So what are some of the projects so macro view, you receive funding of some kind, like donations, government grants, maybe all donations. And then you invest that, try to maximize those donations. And then you give those to community projects you're excited about that seem like they fit within these goals. Yep. What are some of the projects you're most excited about right now?
So through a strategic planning process, we looked... Okay, I'm going to tell my Apple story, which I tell all the time.
Bring it.
In the past, the Community Foundation would have said, we have these health dollars available, submit your grant applications, and we'll give grants around health. And we would have gotten application, we'll say from the Boys and Girls Club, for $1,000 to buy apples for their after-school program. And we'd have written the check for $1,000, and they'd have bought the apples, and the kids would, and that would have been great, and still is. Now, what we would say is, here's your check for $1,000 to buy the apples because kids need apples. But what is the barrier for families buying their own apples?
Wow.
And how do we get upstream on this? Is it transportation? Is it access? And how do we fix that problem? Well, because otherwise we're just going to buy more and more and more expensive apples forever. Yeah. And so we learned at a Shawnee County Health Department event about the social determinants of health. So your health is 20% your genetics, it's 20% your health care, but it's 60% where you live. So your zip code determines more about your future health than your genetic code.
Wow.
And so when we learned that, we totally flipped our grant making upside down because we can do something about that. Safe, like community, and we broadened our definition of health from community health and health initiatives to things like community violence, education, childcare, all of that, affordable housing, that's all health. And so we are now using both. And then that's why we went into impact investing, because you can't grant we knew we could never use our grant dollars to move our community, make progress in those areas the way that we wanted to. So we unlocked this other capital to be able to make loans to for-profit developers and businesses to provide the programs and services that we knew we wanted to.
Essentially changing the makeup of the zip codes is kind of this. Okay, so say that was pretty profound. So your health is based on the three things, 20% genetics, 20% healthcare, and then the rest is where you live, the zip code or neighborhood you live in. Can you just flesh that out a little bit more for us? Like, what exactly are the factors that in that 60% where you live, like, what is it exactly about where you live that affects your health?
Well, and if you look at, like, we have a community health map. And so if you look at that map, there's dark blue, which is super healthy, light blue, which is healthy, pink, which is like, can't remember the exact term, and then red, which is like intensive care. And so pretty much everyone in the community providing programs can see where the intensive care areas are. And if you look at those areas, you'll see very few grocery stores. You'll see billboards that have, like, I don't know about your neighborhood, but in my neighborhood, there's no billboards for cigarettes.
Right.
There's no, I've got sidewalks that I can walk on at night. I feel safe walking on those sidewalks at night. So there's just an infrastructure that's missing in their zip codes in our community.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. So how are you guys getting that information? Is it like surveys? Is it someone just driving around and seeing, okay, here's all of the grocery stores and here's all of the cigarette shops, and how exactly is that mapped out? So
there is the Robert Wood Johnson, Robert Wood Johnson Scorecard for Health is produced by maybe Indiana University, and they, by zip code, by county, can give you what those are. So obesity rates, smoking rates, early births by zip code, and then you take all of those things into consideration, and then you get your scorecard. And so then that's what we found out, was that our health was bad and getting worse, basically, in Shawnee County.
Wow. One thing that, or you said Shawnee County. Yeah. I was going to ask about the Topeka demographics, but you said Shawnee County. Man, that's very cool. So what are some projects? You said you're investing in some developers. What are some other things that you're excited about that you're trying to move the needle on that?
Well, mental health is one of the things that we have two separate funds for, that we, over our grants committee, oversees that. And so tying so much to mental health and community health. And so we're having conversations with, like, the police department, some schools, some kind of unusual suspects, to see what we've had these funds, and it's almost been like I don't know, paralysis of analysis. It's
Sure.
like
Sure.
such a big problem that doing anything seems like that's not going to help.
Right.
But at the time I feel like has come that it's like we really want to be able to make a difference around mental health. And so we're spending a lot of time on that right now. Housing is an issue. Affordable housing is an issue. Community safety is an issue. And, you know, we can't be all things to all people.
Sure.
But because we don't have programs and projects of our own, we can be parts of lots of conversations because we don't really care how this goes forward. We just care that the best thing is done for the community.
Right.
And let us play whatever role we can play to help make that happen.
That's really cool. And that adds maybe a little bit of perspective into your job as far as some of the pressure of, you know, some of these issues, affordable housing. I hear that one all the time in my line of work. And, you know, whenever I hear it, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, well, I'm not going to be the one to solve that.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Right.
And it sounds like maybe you're not the ones who are trying to solve it, but you're the ones who kind of have to dictate whether or not a solution is a good one that deserves funding or not.
Right.
Yeah, that seems
right.
I'm hearing this, knew nothing about your job, very little about the community foundation going in, and now I'm leaving thinking, that's a tough job. That's a stressful job, having to be the ones to decide, yeah, it's a good idea, or no, that's not a good idea. It gets funding.
Cool job, though.
It is a very cool job.
And every day's different.
Yeah.
You know, on the flip side of that, so we have like these 120, 150 scholarship funds. And so many of those are set up in memory or in honor of someone. And so someone passes, we work with their family, we establish a scholarship fund. That's awarded in the spring. We have a reception where the donors come and the kids and their parents come, and we read about why the scholarship was created. So the first one, Dr. Tiffany Anderson, established when her husband died, the Stan and Tiffany Anderson Scholarship. And we read a little bit about him, and she stands. Then the student who wins, they stand. We have a photographer there. We take their picture. So there's like the we deal with we want to solve poverty in our community side of the job, and then there's like we get to connect donors to these awesome
maybe
kids.
a little less stressful.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, kind of two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Right.
Wow. That's very cool.
Do you guys do much with the Topeka Rescue Mission and like I think of homelessness as one of those big issues, and I've always heard
societal.
Yeah, I've heard a big part of the Topeka Rescue Mission, and you maybe know more than I do if you're involved in that department. But a big part of the Topeka Rescue Mission is what they do is kind of like what you're talking about. It's not solving the issue of someone's homeless right now. Let's give them a place to live. But hey, how can we prevent homelessness from being a problem in the future? Because if we just give them what they need today, then, you know, the problem's still out there, and the reason why there's homelessness in Topeka and all over.
Right.
Do you guys do much with that? Is that something you're involved in, or is that maybe their department?
It's always on our radar, but what you're talking about is like changing systems.
Yeah.
And so an example of that would be when we started doing this impact investing work, Janice Watkins from Habitat for Humanity came into my office, and she's like, I've got this crazy idea. And so they do home weatherization for seniors. But to do that, you have to own your home. And so as people were coming to them with documentation that they thought showed that they own their home, instead of a mortgage, what they had was a contract for deed. And so what they were finding out, and contract for deeds can be awesome business tools, but they can also be used in a predatory nature. And so what they found out was like people had these contract for deeds, thought they were mortgages. They were putting infrastructure into their home, adding value to their home. And then at the end of this contract, their homes were being taken from them.
Oh, my goodness.
So she said, what if we could work with an attorney, get these people out from underneath their contract for deeds, and then remortgage these homes to them? So we gave her a loan to kind of help do that. They have turned that, so like we're changing the system.
Wow.
In a perfect world, you wouldn't even be able to issue a contract for deed on a home. And they're working on that. But
is that like rent to own kind of a thing?
Well, kind of. But then at the end, you don't really own.
You still own it, right?
You don't own.
I've never even heard of that.
You probably know more about it.
Yes. Let me put it this way. I spoke to my attorney once about them, and he basically told me there is no reason why a seller should do a contract for deed unless they're trying to take it back in the end. You know, the only time where it makes sense for a seller to do it, you're doing a contracted deed with your kid, and you're giving them a reduced interest rate because rates are at a 7 right now. Any other time where you're doing a contract for deed to a buyer that you have no outside of reason to give them a discounted rate, the intention is you're probably going to take it back in the end.
So the idea is you get a discounted.
Well, the idea of a contract for deed is when a homeowner, someone who owns the property, owns it outright. There's no bank lien on it. There's no mortgage. I could, if I owned the home, say, hey, John, do you want to buy this home? And I will be the bank. You're going to make payments to me, and you're going to be making payments to me instead of a bank, instead of you getting your own loan. And then what happens is the moment you default on that loan, you miss a payment, my mortgage terms are, I'm going to take it all back. And so you've been making payments on it for 4 years, and you should have legally some principal interest in that. Some equity. But the way that these homeowners set up their mortgages is I don't know if it's in the writing or if it's just, understood, is that, no, you don't own any of that. You defaulted, I'm taking it back. Wow. And so now you've been making payments this whole time and you don't have any equity or principal to show for it.
Under the guise of owning
Basically. And that's essentially what my attorney, if I'm understanding that correctly, is it's, they should have some principal equity, but some homeowners, just take it back. Whether that's just the agreement that was set up in the beginning and the buyer renter didn't know. Is that kind of what?
Yeah.
So a lot of times they just didn't know.
Right. They thought it was a real mortgage.
And so what you were saying is that you were working with someone.
Yeah. And so then Habitat this attorney would send a letter to this evildoer person. They would then allow that to let the Habitat buy out that. Then they could create a real mortgage for the people who own the home. That caught the attention of the National Habitat. So that is being done across America now. And then it's even being done internationally just because of a great idea right here in Topeka. And had we not opened our eyes and our doors to the idea of impact investing, we wouldn't have had the kind of capital needed to make that kind of a deal happen.
Yeah.
Do you, so it was basically property and real estate investors who had lots of properties and they were doing that on all of their, or a majority of their wow, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the effects of predatory loans, payday loans? Is that kind of something that
we've never gotten into any of that? We've had some conversations with some credit unions about using some of our impact investing dollars to help maybe set up credit or checking accounts or something like that. But you have to have, there's tons of great ideas out there, but you have to have the right people in the right place at the right time.
Totally. Yeah.
And if one of those is missing, then and sometimes that happens and it comes around years later. At one point, we wanted to have, we love Leadership Topeka. I think it's a great program and thought it'd be great to have high school kids go through something similar. But it just never took root anywhere.
Yeah.
And then for a while, till COVID, we partnered with Washburn University's Leadership Institute, and they created something like that. It was a summer institute for kids, and it was basically like Leadership Topeka. But we had the right people in the right place at the right time. Yeah. And from there, the Topeka Youth Commission was born from that leadership experience at Washburn. And it was because of, just having the right people in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
That actually, I think, is a really interesting conversation that would be interesting to have, is how many problems really will only be solved as more leaders are developed, and one of the things I think about a lot of times is just the the value of a human being in terms of the slice of man, you got to think the next greatest idea is in the heart of some undeveloped leader, who's a kid or a person who just is raw in their sort of leadership potential or whatever. And so, like, who's going to solve world hunger? Like, it's going to be some dude in Africa with a dream, and, things like that they're like, there's a person out there. And so I think I don't know. I'm just kind of like, orbiting around this idea of like, I think a lot of times people have this idea of like, hey, why don't just like the two people who are in charge of everything fix everything? And you're kind of like, I mean, yes, there are like good ideas and bad ideas and all of those things. Ideas have consequences. But like, you can't handle to spin 5 more plates than you're already spinning. Like, you don't have the time and energy to do the things you're doing. So in order for that to get solved, someone else is going to have to step into that position, that role or whatever. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, one of the things that we're doing, didn't want to interrupt you, is this whole idea of investing for a financial and a social return, which is what we're doing with like the Child Care Center and the affordable housing, is Washburn School of Business in the spring has like a pitch contest for businesses that have a social return to them. And we sponsor the prize money for that. And so we're 3 or 4 years into that. But you're right. I mean, these kids have great business ideas. Providing job training to inmates. A lot of really great apps for things like for volunteerism, for food. So you're right. There are awesome ideas out there that just someone needs to say, go for it and do it.
And I'm totally aware there are some terrible ideas too. Like, we should all do this. You're like, that's the worst idea in the world. But you know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it is. It's so true. Like, the need to develop more leaders. And I think in a city like Topeka, what we need is like one of the things that I think would be so great is we don't just need people who are skilled. We need people with the heart who have ownership in the city. Because it's like, it's one thing to have like kind of that sense of like, I'm talented, I could climb the ladder and become successful. It's another thing to have the ownership to look around at your place where you live and see what are the problems that need solving. Who else is going to do something? Maybe I could do something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I feel like in 2017, when, I give Matt a ton of credit, when Momentum 2022 was being created, and it's this whole inclusive economy idea, prosperity for all, there was a lot of leadership, like Dr. Anderson was new, Matt was new. There was just a lot of new leaders in the community. And I felt like there was just this energizing idea that if we would all work together, something amazing could happen. And I feel like that has ignited and there can always be more and better and all that. But there is this spirit of cooperation and collaboration now that there was not before.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So here's a question. Say a listener has an idea on how to solve homelessness in Topeka or how to do something big and they want to reach out to the Community Foundation. What does that process look like to apply for a grant?
That's a great question.
And then I guess who are they applying to? Because I imagine it's not you sitting behind a desk and Marcia says it's good to go and there you go. What does that look like?
So there's 2 sides to it. So there's the grant side to it. So grants have to go to nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
So an individual couldn't just call us and ask for money to do something awesome. Yep. But normally they're going to be working through some kind of nonprofit organization. So in that case, they would call and talk to our director of strategic initiatives. She would have a conversation with them, find out what do you want to do? How much do you think that's going to cost? Who are you working with? All that kind of stuff. We've got an application. And then there's a grants committee made up of people. I like to say, we used to call it the Community Investment Committee. And my idea was when you looked at that group of people, you'd come in and interview, you saw the community. People from all parts of the community, very diverse group of people making those allocation decisions. But it might take a little, depending on how much money you're asking for, it might take a little bit to get there. If you're looking for a loan, if you're a for-profit business and you've got this great idea, you'd call me and we'd have a conversation. I would ask for things like your pro forma budget, your business plan, those kinds of things. Then we've got kind of a rubric where we score things. If I felt like it met the rubric, then you'd talk to the leadership of our local impact investment committee. You'd answer their questions. Then it would go to the full impact investment committee, and then our board of directors makes the ultimate decision around loans.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow. That's wild.
Do you have any ideas you want to pitch to Marcia on the spot?
Here we go.
I have some ideas. I'm trying to remember what they are. I haven't thought about this in a while. What are some things that you are most excited about just happening in the city of Topeka right now?
Good question.
Or not excited about?
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin.
I am hopeful that lots of people will vote this fall. While not ever going to publicly talk about who I would vote for, I think voting is very important. And I feel like...
You don't want to recommend a certain candidate right now?
No. But I would highly recommend voting and letting your voice be heard and being involved in that process. No matter what that looks like, if that is going to city council meeting, I just feel like there's people are realizing that their voice is important. And so using that voice in a positive, encouraging, supportive, let's do this together kind of way, I think is important.
That's great.
So you've been in Topeka since 96, you said. So you've basically, Topeka's home for a while.
Topeka is home.
But you've also lived in other places.
Yes.
Let me hit you with this. What is something that is missing in Topeka? Maybe it's a restaurant, something to do, a store. I don't know. What's something that Marcia would like
Confidence.
to see? I asked that question to one of our previous guests. I said, what's something Topeka's missing? And she said confidence. And I'm like, I was thinking more of like Lululemon, but so I specify now. Is there something that Topeka's missing you'd love to see us have?
We need something that says Topeka. So my husband and I ride bikes, and we were in Colorado, and we were taking pictures, and we meet this other couple from Austin, Texas, and we're like, oh, we used to visit Austin, and where are you from? Topeka. Well, what's in Topeka? And it's just like, we got great schools, we've got the zoo, we've got the Discovery Center, we've got this emerging downtown, we've got Noto, but we don't have something that says, like, this is Topeka. So
like an arch, like you mean like something like that, like
baseball team, like that's something that somebody would say, like, that is Topeka. Yeah.
Someone needs to convince the Savannah Bananas to move to Topeka.
Yeah, there we go.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We're getting that new
the hockey team.
Yeah, well.
What is that, semi-pro? Scarecrows? The Scarecrows.
Semi-pro?
Well, we need to have them on and figure it out.
We're currently talking to someone on their social media, so hopefully they come on here.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
But love that.
Yeah.
We need a staple, something that says this is Topeka.
I mean, with Brown versus Board, we've got tons of great stuff.
That is huge,
But it's, I don't know, just something that we can all wear that jersey or all do, that we're all in that together.
Yeah.
He said Savannah Bananas.
It is interesting because I'm not the biggest like sports fanatic, and I'm not even close to that. But it is interesting now that you mentioned something like that. There is a real sense of like community identity from supporting something all together, like a sports team, that helps people maybe overcome differences and things and have a sense of pride in where you live.
We're all part of the same team.
That is something that's really interesting that I don't know if I give that enough credit.
You come up with an idea, you think about it, you come up with the budget, pro forma, and then you pitch it to Marcia, and we're going to put Topeka on the map.
There you go.
My idea is to buy the Savannah Bananas.
Okay, there we go.
Although I just saw a video, the guy said he'll never sell.
I did see that.
But, which is sad. But maybe he would relocate.
Maybe he would relocate.
The Topeka Bananas. I don't know.
Have you never heard of the Topeka Tropics? Indoor football. R.I.P.
Do we still have them?
No, we don't.
That's why I
R.I.P.
thought it was gone.
It was a staple.
Yeah.
It was cheap Friday fun. That's what it was.
That was it was sad. Because it's a cool name too, even though it makes no sense. Like why are we the Tropics?
Absolutely. We my slow pitch softball team, we named ourselves the Topeka Tropics. And now that the Topeka Tropics are no longer around, people just think we're weird. But cool.
Yeah. Man, you want to go rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Okay.
We have some rapid fire questions that we ask at the end of our episodes, just some this or that.
Okay.
Let us know when you're ready. We'll hit you with them.
Okay, let's go.
Local coffee shop. What's your favorite coffee shop in Topeka?
Oh, there's Circle.
Circle.
I'm just going to say whatever the first thing that comes to my head.
I love it.
But that's partly because of the cinnamon roll.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, the cinnamon rolls are fire.
They have
so
their
good.
bakery's good.
And they're like gluten-free kind of stuff. Doesn't taste gluten-free. So
interesting.
My wife was gluten-free for a while, and it was a big deal that they had gluten-free stuff. And it was not like, a lot of gluten-free stuff. You're like, okay, this tastes fake. But it was like, I would eat this normally. This
cool.
Is yeah. Go for it. Go to date night spot. Friday night, you want to get out and do something together.
Well, see, it's like we're bike riders, so it's like that. So we like to. I'm just gonna we ride our bikes to Lake Shawnee.
Lake Shawnee,
and we eat out and then ride home.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
Is
like
Lake
road bike, like that kind
pedal
of
bike.
No, I mean, but you're not trail riding mountain bike.
No, but the trail bike system trails here are awesome. We start near 29th and Fairlawn-ish, and you can get all the way out to the lake on a bike trail.
Really?
Yeah.
There's the Shunga Trail.
Yeah, because you're on the Shunga.
Goes from 29th and Fairlawn all the way up. Past downtown, and then you can cut down to the lake.
Go out by Reesers. Go around, there's a path out there. Then you're on 29th Street. You take 29th Street sidewalk, and then you can get to the lake.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, you're only on 29th for a quarter of a mile or something for you to lake. Yeah,
no,
I just rode that the other day.
I mean, I don't know why I would know that. I don't ride bikes.
You got to time your when you pass Reesers. You got to time it right. It can be a little rough. So, depending on the time of the day, you're like. It's like driving by the creek, Shunga Creek, it's like,
yeah, you got to hold your breath sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you do any home projects?
Not a ton.
Okay, so then
we'll just ask. Does your husband do any home projects?
No.
So we'll just ask.
Do any home projects?
We'll just ask her still.
Okay.
Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards. If you had to go to one, where would you go?
I go to Lowe's.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
We like that. He's a Home Depot guy. I'm a Menards guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I buy my flowers at Lowe's.
Okay. Yeah.
Smart. I like it.
There we go.
We need a whiteboard. We need that. Yeah.
She would probably be the first tally for Lowe's.
One.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It might be. Yeah.
But it's right across the street from Aldi's. You get a twofer.
Yep.
Oh, that is true.
Love it.
Yeah. That's awesome. How many potholes did you hit on the way here?
I didn't really count, but
I have a community idea: fixing potholes. Pitch it to Marcia.
Aren't we? It's okay. So when we did that at Washburn University, and some kid was doing his little pitch thing, and the mayor was there as part of one of our readers, and he mentioned potholes, and it's just can you not ever go somewhere and not talk about potholes?
Yep. Right.
It's just ugh.
I know.
It takes a.
Well, it's a little bit. It's like a Midwest problem. It's not just a Topeka problem.
And then when we do things like Fairlawn, and we try, and then people complain about that.
Exactly. We have too many potholes. Okay, well, let's fix them. There's too much construction. This is the worst.
Right.
I mean, it is real life. All I want should be not a large ask. I just want perfect roads with no construction. That's all. That's all I want.
Ever.
There you go.
I want green lights the whole way. Is that too much to ask, guys? Come on.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Do we have any others?
I'm just curious, since you brought up you guys like to bike. Where are some of your favorite places to bike just in the U.S.? Where do you guys go to bike?
So Dillon, Colorado. Is awesome.
Okay.
From Frisco to Breckenridge and Frisco up to Copper Mountain. It's
so you're
beautiful.
long distance biking.
Well, depends on your definition of long distance.
You go 50 miles?
We have.
Let's go. Wow. Okay.
And then in Iowa, there's the High Trestle Trail outside of Des Moines, Iowa. It's a rail to trail kind of thing.
Cool.
And it's one of our favorite places too.
50. How long does that take? A 50
mile? Well, it just depends.
On the Marsha Pope pace.
3 to 4 hours maybe?
I don't know, because like you got to stop and
Sure.
go to a coffee shop.
Yo,
and,
seriously?
you know,
Okay, so it's
This
not
is
a-
it's not a
for
race.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You're
not a
not
race.
doing the Ironman.
No.
Yeah.
I have no idea,
Yeah.
man. I don't
No,
bike.
no,
Would you ever do an Ironman?
no.
You're biking the Ironman portion of the.
Yeah, well,
you know,
I might probably not even do that.
you should be a stand-in for the
Yeah.
biking part. So if I did an Ironman, you could do the biking part for me. Is what I'm hearing.
That might take some.
And I'll hand you guys Gatorades.
Yeah, this will be like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I'm gonna call a friend,
Yeah.
phone a friend. Like, Marsha, I need you to do the biking part for me, right? You got 2 hours prep.
you could
That's
probably
funny.
find someone better to do it for you.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us
thank
today.
you.
This is so good.
Yes.
If people are curious about the Community Foundation or want to get
Yep.
in touch with you, where are you guys at? Are you on social media? What's
We
the best
are.
way
You
to?
can find us on Facebook and Instagram. We also, our website has a ton of information on it about our grant application process, all
Yeah.
of that. TopekaCommunityFoundation.org.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Marsha, thank you so
Thank
much for your time. This has
you.
been
Yes.
great.
Yeah,
Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Cool.
And we just want to say, we just love what you guys are doing.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I'll just say too, like you've like really gotten me to think about some things I haven't thought about. The way that you talked about this is really cool. So
Good.
He's really
appreciate
excited to ask you for money later.
yeah, we got to get these bananas into you. That's all I'm saying.
Cool.
Business planning for
Love it.
Yeah.
Performa.
Thanks, Marsha.
Thank you.